I don't know if I should be concerned or not, but my dreams have been real vivid and they have been coming to reality. And I'm just thinking about this dream I had about these explosions in the sky. And I'm a little concerned because okay, let me explain.
I wish I would stop being nervous and just express your thoughts. I mean, it is taboo to do, but I'm open-minded and you're doing it for a reason.
I promise you, I saw this in my dream. I even wrote it down. I drew it and I wrote it down. So that's giving me confirmation that I'm not tripping, my dreams are actually coming to reality. So what the hell is up with these explosions? Should I be getting prepared? Am I the only one who's seeing this? Dreaming of these things?
Shout out to you, Idol the doll, and we don't idolize a thing over here. But let's just keep on making videos. And the one thing I noticed with what you were saying, because it's all basically confirmation. And celestial rising, divine afternoon, and successful night to all divine mirages watching this mindful message. It's your divine reflection, divine messenger, and we are back with another mindful observation of questions that many of you may have as well. But also the video on him is published. I think it should be checking one file. Okay, yeah, they're checking to see if it can have ads and all that so that it can get revenue and whatnot. But it's basically done, 1 hour and 32 minutes for that video. And to your point of view as well, everything that you said, so I put it down in my notes. So the multiple moons, for example, and we gotta see that, to me, I see it as a phase that's merging. So whenever you see, okay, let me go back to this picture. For one, that's deception. It's deception, but through deceit, you learn to love. What do I mean though? Excuse me. You can only learn to love what was already loving. Because loving the things that we don't know, nor that we can see, is what makes the experience worthwhile. When you make your experiences become your vision, you start dreaming bigger. So as I'm looking at this interpretation of a moon and a luminary, understand both of these plasma forces, or we're gonna say these frozen luminaries of light bearings or satellites or just curtains. I see the sun and the moon as a curtain basically. So if you were to erase what the front view of the sun and the moon are, what would you see when you're within that perspective? It would be too bright for you to even get close to. That's exactly why we can only see it from afar, because we are basically being, what's the word I want to look for? I'll say astonished by just the way they glow. Whole entire time, the way we think, those explosions are how our thoughts grow up. So when you're having a thought, you constantly may see an explosion in the skies. Remember, everything in that sky is just your thoughts being downloaded through a transmitter or an energetic grid that is disguised as a sky, which is exactly why when you see, I'm looking at the damn shit, even though I'm recording right here, my bad, I'm looking at the damn camera on my laptop. My fault, y'all. That's crazy as hell. So when you notice the stars, for example, there are no stars and there are no satellites. What I understand is though, all your consciousness, as far as the downloads that you have been activating yourself in, those things come to a realization, because when you see yourself merging, it's a confirmation from your higher self to basically watch you go through a phase that you have to shift and move on from. So you're going through a cocoon style of life. And I say cocoon because it's like we're going through a karmic portal situation that's in Virgo, I want to say. So I was reading about that. But it's time for you to release all the attachments that couldn't help you move on in life, the things that can't help you get to a better journey. You have to let go of and start getting into the knowing of all the things that I want to hold on to, they're going to be for my benefit. And the thing is too, your benefit is beneficial to beings who can help benefit by what they cause you to be affected by, with the positivity you remain in, with the frequency that you resonate with as far as the almighty creation. That's exactly why when you look into the sky, there is no sun or moon merging. There aren't any eclipses. There aren't any moons at all whatsoever. But that's how our mood is altered. It's altered by the labels that we think we're seeing, but that's the illusion upon what was never seen. Because all you're doing is just seeing, let's say maneuvering labels maneuvering themselves in disguise. So as you see these things move, what do you think is moving it? And people may consider this thing to be God, but there is no God. But there is a force that we cannot see, and it remains invisible, but invisibility is just a word and a cloak. That's how deep alchemy and occultism get with just transparency alone. There are a lot of times you can be in a room and there's somebody in the room with you, you just can't see their vibration. Because if it was to harmonize at a fast rate to where it remained physical, you would see what they're hiding behind. But because this technology has become so enhanced, all the energetic, let's say atomicized atomized, or the atomic frequencies within these atoms that vibrate fast currently, they are prepared and shipped into changing their form because that's what we were taught to put thoughts into. Whole entire time, our thoughts are what are controlled by what we think we see. And what we're seeing is what's being placed and downloaded into a higher net. That's why you have a higher net and a lower perspective of the media. And the media, even social media, your family's media, or their perspective on the media, the news, doesn't matter. They cannot cover what you're already being merged into. So the subconscious mind, or the satellite that alters your mind, has to merge and go into a shift within the spirit. It's like a butterfly and a caterpillar, for example. The caterpillar has to go through this stage of consuming, just doing whatever at a slow pace. That's the thing, though, it's pacing itself. It may overeat, it may underweigh, or go through a different way to where it's undermining itself from eating. But eventually, though, it has to go through that phase of just sitting with itself. And if you ever study, because I remember in elementary school, we used to have a form of butterflies or caterpillars. I didn't know why, but it was just basically the whole circle of life aspect, how things come and go by how we nurture and feed and observe. That's all a sun and moon can be, observers. They're just curtains. And they're shaped like the lens that we see life in. We're looking into life that has no vision. So if life has no vision, how can we see what was already exploding into life? And the explosions that you're seeing in the skies are just your thoughts showing you, hey, we're here. You made it. Your vision came true. All you're doing is just yippee-ki-yaying. You're frolicking down the field and you're basically telling yourself, I did it. Everything came true. My dreams are coming true. And you're waltzing your way down a field that only your mind daydreams about. But who gave you that daydream? That's exactly why, with this explosion, every time you're learning something new about yourself, your inner world is basically opening up like an egg. And that's how you're releasing what you knew into a path aligned for you. Because it's all about alignment in alchemy anyways, because all you can really see is the alchemist. Because in alchemy, alchemical processes for the energy that goes up and then comes back down was really just imbalance. So it's just all present energies that stay in flow. When you stay in the flow of what the path is, the path cannot be seen by the luminaries that observe from above. As these sources protect our memory, why do you think the sky shows what's stored in that cloud? Or let's just say the tapestry of what the sky can even be. You never seen the sky for real. So when you look into the future, why do you think a lot of times when you go outside, you look up? I know I look up every day because When I look up, I'm looking down at my higher self. So realistically, I'm just looking within. So I can't look up and I can't look down, because in a parallel universe, me looking down is me just looking up. In this universe, me looking up is just me looking down. So if I'm my biggest competitor, then there's no point of me even just dreaming anymore. I become the dream. So remember, when you're looking into this database of labels, you're labeling the idea that you became envisioned of. Envisioned of because your mind is the steering wheel into getting you to the path that was meant for you to live in. And you have many different destined paths that you can walk on. That's supposedly supposed to be your guidance. However, you treat yourself in that process, but that comes from healing. In order to get to that path that's meant for you, and meant for you literally, to where you can free yourself mentally from this game, you have to be able to go outside the virtual system. You have to be able to become honest with yourself again. Go to that past. You have to be able to rewire what that version of you thought was normal. Internalize the love you have for that version. Place that into the future to where now it can memorize that. So you're taking care of the future while also looking into the past. Even though the past is still your future, because you have to be in tune with it currently as you're sitting with yourself. As you're doing that, when you get the idea and it's exploding in the air or this disguise or this atmosphere, because through Rayleigh scattering, they scattered even through nanotechnology as well, or through airwave, I actually would say processing too, or scattering, because they scatter these different particles in the air that make us think that the sun and moon or the planets are there. The whole entire time we're blind to what's really in front of us. So when you see your dream mirroring back to you, that's exactly why when you look up, all you can do is just see what was stored in your mind, and it came from somewhere up there to where this force is showing you what you're missing out on. Our body was able to reach what we can't even reach, so that would be infinity. Because infinitely, what are these holes in the firmament? What are these little systems? Are they just mirrors of just our thoughts being trapped in what we look up to? You gotta ask yourself these questions. What if other versions of different worlds outside the ice wall have different processes for the sun and the moon? What if they have their own generators that keep them unconscious? Because the sun and moon are basically uplifters to siphon consciousness, to keep it stuck with where it is, or to keep it in this infinite loop that it wants to remain in. Because as energy, if energy does not want to become a different form, it's going to just keep remaining in that form that it feels comfortable running around in. So when these energies that people are going into, if they're not activating this better version, they'll always be stuck in what the past wanted to keep hold of or wanted to keep a hold on. Yes, sir. All my checks are completed for the hymn video. So that video's out. I know y'all gonna enjoy that. Yeah, it just dropped. Wow. So yeah, I know you all will enjoy that video. I'm gonna go deeper on Patreon with that. But anyways, now as you're realizing though, your solar observation has literally caught up to your vision now. With these 3 different steps that I think, from what I just heard from your voice reading. Because if you're learning something from somebody else, or even yourself as well, by questioning things, which is a great thing, you're a genius if you do that. When you're questioning things, you're not leaning on that knowing. You now move through humility. Humility is like a surfboard that helps you ride the wave of truth. When you crash into truth, you lie about being fearful of drowning, but all you can do is just overflow what your thoughts don't want you to save yourself into. Because when you save yourself from what you're drowning in, all you got to realize is that you are your own savior, realizing that you can't drown in what your mind came up with. That's why the element of water can only be spiritual, because you were born inside of the synthetic processing of that element that we still need nourishing in. I mean, do you not need water to maintain your vessel? If not, you will be dehydrated and you will kill yourself in that process. So you need the synthetic delusions that are physical. But that's the vision. You don't hold on to it, but you see it as a necessity or a tendency that you have to be addicted to. If that has a healthy property that does more good than bad, You don't hold on to it, but you keep it by your side on the journey. Journaling. If you're moving into a different merging process to where that mindset is where you want to be, as far as, for example, recently I did 20 things I was grateful for on Sunday or Saturday. By doing that, it was just the simple things in life. And that's what helped me just merge into a different phase. Doesn't matter if we have an eclipse coming or whatever different portal topic that people want to talk about because it's trendy. Nah. You do these things because every day you're choosing to get to that envisioning. That's exactly why at this point in life, you had to envision that alignment. There is no future because there is no tomorrow. Tomorrow is right now. There is no future because the future is right now. That's all you have. All you have is 3:14 a.m. You don't have 4 o'clock. You don't have 5 o'clock. All you have is right now. So how much are you willing to give in order to gain what you already have? So you're not willing to give up anything as far as yourself. You're on the right track because now you can sit with nothing. When you sit with nothing, you have everything because everything will now come into your life because you're not looking for it anymore. When you stop looking for that vision, it becomes crystal clear even through the explosions because all this nature does when it explodes, is basically showing you that I had an idea and now I want to say something about it. That's an outburst. Let me just say what's on my mind, how I feel in a moment, to where somebody can relate. Some being can relate to what I'm going through. But when you watch an explosion and you don't comment on it, you're now mesmerized by a past collapse that you can now see and correlate and maneuver your highest timeline into descending into what you're currently flowing in. The mind is so powerful. You can bring your quantum universe of a parallel universe that you're already in. When you study that, because if you look up at the sky, that's basically where these realms are because you're looking up into your mind. So when you close your eyes, there is no sun, there is no moon. But when you open it, there's a sun and a moon. Who told you that? Got it. So if they're teaching us anything and we got words, we're under mind control. So to escape that, close your eyes. You look at the void. There is nothing besides what you are closed off into thinking is normal, as far as the dark. You may not see anything, but that's the problem. You're looking to see something, but you're not feeling what can't be seen. You're just looking behind the lens of what we lie into seeing. So now when you see that, all you can do is observe every realm. That's why the mind has no door. It's a passage, it's a gateway, it's a canal of what you constantly flow in because your thoughts are the flow of life that keeps you remaining youthful, it keeps you remaining wise, it keeps you remaining aware of what never was flowing. If we're flowing in life, what does that look like? Because there is no boat, there is no steering wheel, there is no guide, and there is no blueprint, and there is no person steering a boat on this canal of consciousness. If nobody's doing that, what does life look like if you're not flowing on it? Whoa, flowing on life. Why not flow in life? Wait a minute, what is in life when life is not within itself? You're finally caught up into becoming your dreams. They're not dreams anymore. They are your reality. You made it. Now you got to maintain what that is. If you have a certain feeling of who you want to be and where you want to go in life, you don't let go of that because of the opinion of others or because you learned something as far as in the current moment or the current situation that's cool, but you don't hold on to that because it doesn't matter. What matters is how strong is your bond with your higher self before you do transcend this game. That's all that ever matters. You will get everything you wanted, but that comes with what? Patience, young Padawan. Comes with patience. Okay, you can be patient for so long, you get eager. Why do you think that is? It's because they want us to look up at fallacies that we get to chase and dream about. Fuck no. There is no point in dreaming anymore. Dreams are your reality. And by doing that, you will make it happen by putting in the work. There is no time to sit here and lay down and say, man, I wonder what that thought was or who I can be. I seen a version of myself, but man, that was a great dream. That ain't no goddamn dream. That's an idea you need to act upon. That's exactly why when you're okay with getting rid of sleep, what is the dream now when you're awakened while you should be asleep? While the whole world is resting in a nice conditioned unit of their room, all these decompressed thoughts that are just scattering all across the room that these people are running from, even though they're lame with what they're running from. So when you observe that and you're still up when people are sleeping, who's really sleeping when both versions are still awake? One just has their lids closed. The other one has them open. But what's the difference when the more open your eyes get, you still remain just asleep? I appreciate you all for the questions and thank you for being able to let me know that, your questions do deserve to get answered. I don't have all the answers, but I'm thankful to just give you just something that I think makes sense to me. And common sense is not common to make sense of. So everything in this video is basically just off of what I think you were mentioning or saying. So
I promise you, I saw this in my dream. I even wrote it down. I drew it and I wrote it down. So that's giving me confirmation that I'm not tripping. Like, my dreams are actually coming to reality. So what the hell is up with these explosions?
Because you're basically looking into the idea that you had to say out loud. It's like you're watching your internal system explode into a sense of joy and a aha, I knew it moment. That's how that feels. It's like a little kid receiving a gift they always knew they would get on Christmas or even on their birthday.
And I'd be getting prepared.
Yeah.
Am I the only one who's seeing this?
You should get prepared, because to prepare is to always be preparing. When you're prepared for the war, you don't have to get prepared for the war because you're not really fighting anybody besides what you're preparing for, and that's basically yourself. So you're not the only one that sees this either. There are some people who see it, but some don't see it the way that we explain. What the fuck? I'm still talking to the damn... Oh my bad, y'all. You don't... So no, other people see it the way you see it, but you're not seeing it how you should be seeing it because, for one, let me go back. Make sure I'm on track.
Prepared?
Yes, get prepared, because your preparation is preparing you into being prepared constantly for what was never there. Your preparation got you there because you are reminding yourself of what has to be. But nothing has to be besides what you are being at the moment. So if you're focused on that outburst internally, you're going to express it out loud to where art becomes your vision, to where you're seeing these visions in a pixelated form of a photo or even just as art in general. You're just like, how is that possible? Am I tripping? No, a truth teller knows when they say, am I tripping? You're about to lie to yourself. So you're not tripping. You know what's going on, but you choose to play delusional to avoid what the truth stays silent about.
Am I the only one who's seeing this?
Yes and no. A lot of people are seeing it. They just don't know how to explain it or even just interpret it or even communicate on it because they don't know how to do their own research. That's exactly why many people are lost in their way. They're lost in their way because they're so stuck on what they have known, what they have told, what they have been told. And these frames of just being are the reason why people can't see what you and I just talked about or had a conversation on.
Dreaming of these things,
Yes, everything that you are involved with is the dream because your dream has been fixated on what you deem as normal reality. But reality becomes a dream that you have been accustomed to loving on. So when you learn to hate the love you have for this realm, you move as if you were never here. That's why mysticism will help you transcend the game, because remember, to be different, to remain mysterious, you do things differently. You don't care about the praise or the admiration you get for it, but you're doing that because you're doing it for a higher calling. You're not here to look at the masses that are zombified. You're doing it because when you look back up at your highest reflection, you're telling yourself, I will make it back to where I was, to where I am, basically, because you're everywhere and nowhere. You think as if you're walking and talking in certain places or backgrounds, but all the entire time you're just in a computer processing system that systematically is harvesting just the vibration that you're observing. And we allow it because that's how strong the mind is. So when you understand that everything you do is a dream, turn your dreams to reality because reality is the dream. But how can you dream when reality is just a dream? So how will you envision in your dreams when you're dreaming right now with your eyes wide open and your lids closed? Have a great divine reflection.